So this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Colo. I'm on the road and I'm trying to do the best I can. This is going to be the last year I'm going to do this week, maybe till Monday or something like that. So here we are over here, and we're going to go into the Matik Midavash right here. Okay, I have no pencil, no pen, no nothing. I'll use my finger. So he says, Mamsha Devarov. Now, what we've been learning about is this thing called the Leviathan. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. Somebody will correct me. But at any rate, it's this giant serpent, and it swims in the rivers. And here he came and he told us that what is he referring to? He's referring to the arich, which means the central core of the reality of the Sitra Achra, that is, of the other side, of what they call the Klippa. So the Klippa turns out that it also has the 5 partsufim, it also has the 10 spheros, it has all the different kinds of attributes that Kedusha has. So the Zohar goes on. He said, Mamamshach devar v'amraki hai yaora. Yor zecher shehu kli ha-keser de klipa. So now we're talking about what's the nature of the keser of the kli of the klipa. Why do we need klipa? Why do we need to know this? Well, that's my question. I guess you picture it for yourself. Now we're talking about Kedusha here. The Kedusha, so it takes, that is what the Yisod does. It takes all the drops from up above, and they come out from the Yisod and they go down. Down meaning towards us. V'apik tipim achronim de berkon mesitra de yamina, and in motzi tipos secheres, it causes other drops to come out. Shall brachos, which are brachos, shehem zerach hakodesh hayotzach b'derek tzino hayomim hayamini. Get a translation here. Says, what are they? They're brachos. They're brachos. Anything that comes out of Yisod is a bracha. Shehem zerach hakodesh, which is this holy seed. Hayotze derek tzino hayamini, which comes through the right channel. This right channel flows into Malchus, so the Yichud, and makes a Yichud with Malchus. The Yichud is a big deal. It's the biggest deal. So then what remains from these drops? So amongst them, there's one particular drop, which is quiet from these blessings. And what does that mean? So let's say the tipos, still some is left over. I guess it didn't come out. Which is, I don't know if to pronounce it, but it's sheket, it's quiet. But also my brachos, of those brachos, shehem zera kodesh, all of those brachos, of course, are the holy zera. Now let me see if I can get this down a little bit so I can see it better. It's not great lighting. I'm in a motel here. So that channel, that river, which is quiet. So he's saying that the Rosh of the Klipa is quiet. It's not the one that you have to grab it. It's not like the snake where we had that metaphor of Moshe grabbed the tail of the snake. But this one, that quiet place is the very tip, the very beginning. In other words, the total place in the brain, let's say, of the energy of this keser, of the Eric Anpin, of the Klipa. Because it all, let's get a translation. This is considered more important, the quiet one, than all the other mekulam, of all of the other klipos, the other 9 klipos of the 10 spheros of the klipa of Eric Anpin. So he said, the fish of Mekabel Ha'ara Gam Mishuri Zerah HaKodesh, because mixed in it at that place, because where the top of this thing, this is located, it's like the head of Esav. It's right next to the Kedusha. And so therefore, Mishiuri, it takes a certain amount of Kedusha into itself. Kadnafkin misparshan, Kushayotzin and misparshan, now it goes out and it starts to spread. Inun arba nahara de nafkin begins to the Aiden. Osa nadala naharos, there are four, this is in the beginning of the Chumash. There are four rivers that come out from the Gan Eden, a Yotze began Eden. Kamasha Kosev Nahar Yotze Eden, because we have someplace it says is that a river came out from Eden, Lahashkos as a Gan, in order to water the Gan. Omisham Yifaret, and for there it separates V'hoyela Arba Roshin. Shema Echot Pishon, he's quoting the Chumash. So going on. Hahu de Ikri Pishon, so that one which is called Pishon, Bahahu Yor Ivis Khalil Bay. So the first one, the one that's called the Pishon, Osar Nahar Hanikra Pishon, Shuhu Nahar Rishon, that's the first river. Shuhu B'Bichnis Chesed, that's the, now understand, okay? So he says this is the aspect of the Chesed of the Eric Anpen of the Klipa. Nofel falls down, the Nimshach Biyor Hasheket, and it falls into the quiet river, which he says is the Keser of the Klipa, of the Erech Anpin of the Klipa. Nahar Rishon, the first one, Bechinas Chesed, now it falls into the quiet place of the Kli Shal HaKesed, the Klipa V'Nichlobo, and it becomes a part of it. I'm not sure that I really understood that 100%, but I got the idea of the movement. Somehow some Kedusha winds up in this quiet place. V'aldo Malchus, and on this Malchus, where is it? Okay, so now he adds this idea. This Malchus Bavel is Khalil Bahai. Now, V'alkein Malchus Bavel, Shuhu Rosh Malchus Hamamlachos, the Hamamlechos, I don't know how to pronounce it. Rosh Hamamlechos, so Resha de Dahava, which is the secret of the golden head. Now this apparently is mentioned in Daniel base, B'cholom shel Nebuchadnezzar, which is a part of the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. B'chol iskala behib al-kain Malchus Bavel, which goes along with Nebuchadnezzar, Rosh Hamamlechos, so Resha de Dahava, which is the head of the kingdoms. He wants to say, I guess it's about Bavel, the head of the kingdoms. There is called the golden head that you see in Sefer Daniel. Nechlalas Benamra, so that place joins in to this river. Now, I'm a little confused about which river, where it came from, but he originally was talking about Pishon, which is the main river. And Pishon Ihu Malchus Bavel. Pishon represents the Malchus of Bavel. Now, what's he trying to say by Malchus of Bavel? Now, we live in the United States. I'm in South Florida. Well, actually, I'm in Central Florida right now. Why Bavel? Ratzon Elohim Mitzrayim, he sowed hakesed the klipa. So he wants to say like this, that Egypt, and this is Parshat BO. Yeah, let me just, in case somebody needs to see it. It's sowed hakesed the klipa, Bavel, he hachabad shalo. So the Bavel represents, if we say that Egypt is the head, let's say Ratzon Elohim Mitzrayim, he sowed hakesed the klipa, is the very top of the klipa, that's what we're talking about. Then Bavel would be its Chabad. Chok would be the Das. Shalom. L'chein, so therefore, Sheneichen nechlala b'nahar Pishon, so therefore they're all incorporated in this one first river. Now, Miyorado, it Zanuv is Malyan Kol Inin Yorin Achronim, for this one place, all of the other Yorim, which he said with the Kalim and the Klipa, or hazeh, and from that light that's going into it, that is the hazeh hashaket, which is the quiet light. Nizonim mismalayim kol yorim acherim. Now, the way that I understand this for myself is that there is a place that this is a creation of Hashem. At the very beginning of falseness, at the very inspiration and all the whole energy of falseness, is created here. So he's talking about this is this channel or this pishon, this one river. And whatever is in that river, also there's a certain amount of kedusha that falls into it, because without kedusha it can't live. So therefore it has to have that, I guess. This is me making this up, but I try to understand it. So then he says that we're dealing with the top level of the spheros, of the klipa. And we're dealing with the Keser, which he said is Mitzrayim. We're dealing with the Chabad, which is Bavel. So let's keep going on and trying to put the pieces together, but this is actually a big subject, and we're just getting a taste. B'chol Ye'or v'Yora Alzloch v'Shad Chad Nina v'Inun Tesha. B'chol Ye'or, so there are, he said, I think he said that Ye'or are the spheres of the klipos. V'Ye'or v'Akol or Ye'or v'Ye'or. See, the word Ye'or is actually the word or with a yud in front of it. So what you could do with that, I'm not sure, but that's a fact. So he says Ye'or, Dahainu, B'kol kli v'kli shalatesha spheros, that is of the lower 9 spheros, not of the Keser, Holech u'mishotet, Tanin echod, each one of them has a swimming snake in it. Now, this snake, which he's talking about, I guess today you would call it the Yetzer Hara. It's also the libidinal drive, the animal drive within people, which dominates. U'mishotet tanin echod dahainu shemislavish bor or echod, that inside of it is one or. I told you because the word yaor, which means this kind of river or channel or whatever it is, it's actually not water. Of course, it's actually light, but a negative, or one that works the wrong way, the fake light. Echad. V'heim teisha taninim. So altogether here, for the lower 9, you have 9 different taninim, snakes. B'teisha yaorim, in the 9 clay kalim of these klipos. V'kol chad v'chad nakiv nukva b'reshe. Now he says each one of these rivers, these yaorim, were full of light, the light of the klipa. V'kol echad v'echad mehataninim. Now looking at the snakes that swim in these channels, yesh lo nekev v'chor b'rosha, it has an opening, a hole at the top of its head, kedei sheyiyel pesach, so it could have an opening, l'shu'uv v'l'yonodik dergasham as kiyusa. So this going to translate, kedei sheyiyel lo pesach l'shu'ol, l'shu'uv. He can draw. Shov means to draw, like drawing water. V'liyonek, and to feed off of, derek sham, through that opening at the top of its head, as chiyusa, the life force that he needs. So you're seeing this is how the klipa also spreads too. Kamadat Amar, like I said, the shabarta rosha tininim, v'pirish al sisa shever v'neke b'rosha hataninim. So you made here this broken place, this hole that you made in the head of the snake. So even if you looked at the first, that is the klipa, the keser, let's see what the matuk says. The big one, because he called it Pishon before, it's different names. But Rosha also has the same. It also has a hole at the top of its head. It's like a suction. Begin the kuhul nafchim vruchim legabe elo. Let's see what it is. The shisha kulam, nofchim, umanashvim, they breathe, or they get the breath of the ruach, of ruach. Klape ma'ala, that's coming out from the upper worlds. Kadeshi yakablo shefam v'chayusam melamala, so that they should be constantly looking upwards. The klipa is always looking up. I'm not sure what this means, because the shefa is coming from that opening at the top of its head. Now you see that this is a deep inyan. It's going to go on. We're only able to take a little look at Parshat BO this year. So let's say kalape mala kadeshi yakablo shefam v'kiyusam melamala, because they want the shefa from up above them. They need the energy of the pure energy of the klipa. Ve'enim menashvim klape mata, but they never breathe downwards. They never blow downwards. They never try to go the opposite direction. Ki im hoya noshvim osach haruach bepihem, because from out of their mouths, if they would take out of their mouths, and he writes litzad hatachtonim. Let me just translate again. If he was blowing osach haruach, the ruach, out of his mouth, and he wanted to send it to the side of Tachtonim, to the side of the lower worlds, which is where we are. Shalpehu pesach the Tachtonim, because here's a phrase that the Matuk adds. The mouth is a doorway to the lower worlds. That could be taken a lot of different ways. Hoyu Machrivim esa olam. If all of the badness of the klipa was able to actually not be looking up all the time, but actually started looking down, there would be no world. This is Baruch Fleischman, trying to learn a shtickle Zohar.